didn't run. I didn't get in my van and take off. I didn't run because they would have caught me. But I was a sitting duck. All they had to do was pick me off. But because God got involved, they couldn't. They started getting involved with being busted. They got the whole drug ring and the car theft ring got busted. They were so involved with taking care of law, trying to keep away from the law and trying to get out of trouble themselves. They said, man, this dude ain't gonna hurt us. Don't even worry about it. I remember driving down Fleet Avenue and seeing one of my suppliers drive up, coming the opposite way. We were in vans. And you know, back then we had vans, we would wave at each other, you know. And I just happened to see a van and I waved and he looked at me and it was one of the suppliers. Just kept on driving. That's God. That's God. I got a message from a young lady that's taking care of my book. And she said, she had me to go through it to make sure everything's all right. Well, I found a misprint. There's a couple places where periods should be, they're not, and where they're not, where they are, where they shouldn't be. There should be a couple words over, but I didn't mess with that. But there was one that was talking about my friend Big Earl, and it said B-I space G. And I told her, she said, well, unfortunately, I said, if we go back to correct that, it's going to take 7 to 8 weeks and a $75 charge. Well, $75 charge isn't that bad, but 7 or 8 weeks before they start selling the book, I said, forget it, you know. But anyway, she told me, when I okayed it, she told me, said, well, you will start seeing your book start posted up on different, sell agents within the next 2 weeks. And that was a week ago. So it should be coming up for sale in the next week or so. And so I'm kind of excited about that. Praying that God blesses it, that lives will be changed, souls will be saved. And and one thing I did, I heard my daughter and I, we went to West Virginia, her family's reunion a few years ago, and we were listening to a book on tape. And the one thing the young lady continued to say, she says, I stressed that I would never write a book and have embellishments in it. She said, I will not exaggerate, I'll not embellish anything. Everything that I wrote in this book is the absolute truth. And with that in mind, when I wrote my book, I kind of downplayed everything. Because to be honest with you, it was probably much more exciting than I made it sound. But I kind of downplayed it simply because I didn't want to sensationalize it. Amen. I just wanted to tell the truth, tell what happens. It starts off how my mother came to Cleveland from West Virginia. Well, how she was born, how her mother was born. Her mother's mother died in a fire. Her father remarried and had 7 more children along with my great-grandmother, along with my grandmother. And then how my mother was born, and then how she came to Cleveland and met my dad, who was from the same town, but they didn't know each other in that town. And I just tell that story all the way up until where I came on the scene. And then the first scene I remember, Bugs, was at your house. I got a picture of your dad cutting my hair in the book. I got a picture of Sue. Bugs' sister Sue was they were like my big sisters. I was 2 years old, 3 years old, and I lived at their house when we were just I was a little boy. And I have a picture of me, probably about 2 or 3 years old, of Sue standing there holding me in front of the old house down on West 7th. Amen. So I tell those stories, and I just go on up to, I tell my whole lifetime on the south side, from one house to the next where we lived. And then I told her how we moved to the east side, and how my mother had tried to get me away from the south side to keep me from getting in trouble. But when it's in you, I'd walk down the street and see the brand new 74 Cadillacs owned by the pimps. And I'm like, I gotta have one. That was my desire. My goal, I never told this in the book, but my goal was to be a mobster and to be a have a chauffeur-driven limousine and be a mobster. That was my goal. That was my desire.
And wear bling.
What's that?
And wear bling.
Yeah, I didn't care about the bling. I wanted the nice suits and the big money, And that was my goal, and I set out to reach that goal. But My problem is I like to party too much. You know, so I made a lot of money, but I partied even more. I mean, and I always had, 6 to 12 people with me partying with me. I covered all their bills, all their drug bills, and made a lot of money, spent a lot of money, lived a wild life, and thank God it was only for a couple of years because I would have killed myself. Because most everybody that I hung out with are dead. You hear me? Most of them are dead.
Yeah.
People that I love. My daughter's mother, she died just 2 years ago. Ronnie Victor, one of my best friends.
Yeah.
He died, come home drunk, fell out of steps. Doug Ferguson lived with me for years. Died of cancer a few years back. Paul Hickman, buddy I knew from the south side and moved to the east side, died of cancer some years back. A lot of this was, some of it's just nature and some of it was drug or alcohol related. And the one guy come by and see me a few weeks ago, his name is Timmy, and I'm surprised he's alive. He's alive and well, and I'm shocked. Big Earl, Jim, they used to come over to church on Pearl. Jim and, I can't think of his wife's name. Dark-haired guy, came on Pearl for a few years, had 2 little girls. Anyway, we call him Big Earl. He died. Drug related, I could probably sit here and name many others that I've known, or in this case, the ones I'm mentioning now were my best friends. All gone. And here I am, that should have been gone at age 19. Should have been gone 14 years ago today. 41 years ago today. I should have been gone. I would have been forgotten by now. Think about that. My mom's gone, my aunt, my uncle's gone. All the people that really knew me, Thelma would remember, because she knew me back then, but she probably wouldn't think much of me. Last time she would have seen me, I was just a young man. Amen. I would have been gone.
Yeah.
And already forgotten. Every now and then, Thelma or Bugs would say, I remember Timmy. Yeah, he was a nice kid, but he got himself into a big mess. You see how good God is?
Yes.
And I want you to know something. You don't have to be on drugs. You don't have to be rebelling against God. Just say, no, Jesus, not now. Oh, I'm not rejecting God. I just don't want to do it now. But let me tell you what happened. I hope you all don't mind if I take this route this morning. I was 17 years old. I had a dog since I was 10. German Shepherd. I loved that dog. We were best friends. He would take off sometimes, and I would be worried about him because he'd be gone all, half the night. I'd go to bed and I'd start praying. I said, God, please bring my dog home. Protect him. I'd hear him scratching out of the window and the choker chain rattling. As soon as I said it, I'd go let my dog in. He got sick. I took him down the Rocky River and he was running in the water and got a tick infection. Dr. Joe, Rapid Tech, spiced it, drained it. A few nights later, my mom says, Tim, said the dog, he's laying out, King's laying outside, he can't walk. I went out and brought him in. He was sick all night. We called the vet, couldn't get a hold of him. Finally, we got a hold of him. The vet said, give him a bottle of whiskey, some, those little bottles. We didn't, my mom didn't drink. The neighbor had one. Remember how they used to have those little bottles of whiskey on the airport, on the planes?
Yeah.
We got him, gave it to him, and he started gagging and choking like he was dying. I ran to my bedroom and I jumped on my knees. I prayed all the time, but I didn't jump on my knees. I didn't pray on my knees. I got down on my knees and I said, oh God, please don't let my dog die. And God said, will you serve me? I said, oh God, please don't let my dog die. He said, will you serve me? I said, God, I'm not going to make a promise I can't keep. But please don't let him die. Silence. I walked out. I looked at my dog. He lifted his eyes up to me. His eyes met me and his head dropped. I put him in the back room because I was going to take him out to Geneva, Ohio, at my aunt and uncle's house the next day to bury him. So I put him on a table in the back apartment. And that night I had a dream that he'd come. He would always scratch on my door and I'd let him in and he'd sleep up under the bed. I slept on the top bunk. I opened the door.